Coronavirus cases and hospitalizations skyrocketing, reaching numbers that we haven't seen since the height of the pandemic. Yet, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention releasing new guidelines that could scrap quarantine completely for some New Yorkers. News 12's Faith Graham joining us now from St. Barnabas Hospital. Faith, a lot of major developments on the efforts to stop the spread today.
Yes, Amanda, a busy day for New York City. First, we welcomed a vaccine mandate for private sector employees. We're now experiencing a surge in hospitalizations, and tonight we have new guidelines for isolation and quarantine. That latest development coming just a few hours ago when the CDC announced that anyone who contracts COVID now only has to isolate for 5 days. Then at that point, if they have no symptoms, they can go out in public about their daily life so long as they wear a mask, which would cut their isolation time in half. The CDC also released new quarantine guidelines for close contacts. If you're boosted, you can skip quarantine altogether as long as you wear a mask around others for 10 days. This also applies to those who finished their 2-dose vaccine less than 6 months ago, or their J&J shot less than 2 months ago. If you're unvaccinated or your last vaccine falls out of that time frame, the CDC recommends you quarantine for 5 days and then wear a mask the following 5 days. These major changes come just hours after Governor Kathy Hochul shared that more than 5,500 New Yorkers are in the hospital with the virus, a number we have not seen since February. And in just 2.5 weeks, the number of children hospitalized here in New York City has increased 5-fold. So it begs the question, why are people who have been exposed being allowed out sooner in public? The CDC says it's because transmission typically only happens in the first few days, and Dr. Fauci says it's because cases are only expected to rise.
One of the things we want to be careful of is that we don't have so many people out. I mean, obviously, if you have symptoms, you should not be out. But if you are asymptomatic and you are infected, we want to get people back to the jobs, particularly those with essential jobs, to keep our society running smoothly.
So, Faith, right now it appears that Dr. Fauci and the CDC expect cases to continue to rise. Have they shared anything else about how they're going to be handling the surge?
Well, they are still just encouraging people to get boosted. The CDC also released some new data tonight from South Africa and the United Kingdom, which was data showing the effectiveness of vaccines against the Omicron variant. The data found that just 2 doses gives you around 35% effectiveness, but once you get boosted, that number shoots up to 75%. So they continue to say that boosters are what is going to keep you safe and keep your symptoms not as severe as it could have been without the vaccine. In Tremont, Faith Graham, News 12.
All right, Faith, thanks for the big update tonight.